Welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Chicago Bears and determining whether or not I think they can make the playoffs in 2021. But before getting to that topic, question for those of you viewing, comment down below whether or not Justin Fields will start week 1 for the Bears. I want to hear your answers. Do you think he's going to have some mentorship from Andy Dalton and Andy Dalton's going to take the lead for now? Or will Justin Fields come in and be the immediate starter? Comment down below. But overall, getting to this topic and looking at this Bears team, roster-wise, paper-wise, I am a big fan of them. But when it comes to playing on the football field, they just have issues and can't get things together all the time, it seems. However, with a brand new quarterback, that could change your team around very quickly for the better or for the worse. We'll just have to see. But looking at the roster outside of the quarterback and saving that for later, starting even with the coaching staff, Matt Nagy, I think he gets a lot of heat, and I really don't hate on Matt Nagy. I'm actually a very big fan of him. I think he's a very underrated coach in the NFL. Look what he did with Mitch Trubisky in a very healthy and well-rounded Bears defense one year. He took him to 12-4, and he kind of got gypped in the playoffs off of a missed kick. Now, possibly with a new revamped team and a Bears team that is hungry, he might be able to do it again. Of course, a couple things that'll come into play is whether or not Aaron Rodgers is playing. That's obviously going to be a factor. If Aaron Rodgers is out and doesn't play for the Green Bay Packers, that division is wide open between the Bears, Vikings, Lions, and Packers. And I don't know if there is a dominant winner if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come in. Obviously, if he does start, I do think they'll win the division. It doesn't mean this Bears team can't fight for a wild card spot, though. But like I said, looking at the roster, you have a number one wideout in Allen Robinson, who he as well is very underrated. He's been a big name in the NFL for a while, yet he's never had a big name to ever throw to him. So I think he's still on the brink of reaching a whole nother level, and we haven't seen his max potential yet. Just like Stephon Diggs going to the Buffalo Bills. Stephon Diggs was a very well-known receiver on the Minnesota Vikings. That was a great receiver, but he went to Buffalo Bills and got a big armed quarterback in Josh Allen, developed a very good quarterback wide receiver duo. All of a sudden, Stephon Diggs is top 5 in the NFL, and the same thing could go for Allen Robinson if a possible Justin Fields come in and has a cannon and can connect with Allen Robinson well. Also, there is other players in Darnell Mooney and Anthony Miller. Not star-studded guys, but they could catch the football. They're known names. They provide some depth in that receiving core. Could be better, could be worse, is how I see it. Looking at the backfield, I have mixed opinions on David Montgomery. Some people think he's overrated, some think he's underrated, and I'm not sure. I would say he's on the slightly underrated side, but then again, I'm not saying this guy's a top 10 running back by any means. I think he's a little underrated, but still, Bears fans, it's not like you have some pound the rock guy that's just going to carry your team to the playoffs like Derrick Henry of the Titans. I like David Montgomery, and he's a little underrated, but he's nothing special that's going to carry this team. I like Tariq Cohen as a second option as well. He's kind of a wild card play. He can play receiver, he can play running back, he can do whatever you want. He's a short dude, but he's got some speed and he's got some hands that the Bears could work with. Looking at the defense, if the Bears make the playoffs, Justin Fields or Andy Dalton, when of course the quarterback position is going to be highly responsible when it comes to the Bears defense, they will be the guys that are carrying the load and possibly fighting for a playoff berth with this team. It's absolutely stacked in my opinion. I am concerned how this Bears defense will play after losing their defensive coordinator in Chuck Pagano, but talent-wise, roster-wise, the talent is still there. And Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Raquan Smith, Robert Quinn, Danny Trevathan, Eddie Jackson, Desmond Trufant. This is a great roster all around on defense, up front, on the defensive line, in the front seven, and in the secondary as well. Desmond Trufant, he's not the greatest cornerback, but he's still got some decent years ahead of him still. And Eddie Jackson, one of the top safeties in the league. I believe he used to be the highest paid safety in the NFL, or the second highest paid. He's still one of the top guys in the league. So I like this Bears defense from top to bottom. I'm just curious who's really going to lead them when it comes to the coaching staff. Not to say they will be misled, but I am curious how they'll be without Chuck Pagano. And then again, getting back to the biggest variable on this team is going to, of course, come from the quarterback position. If it's me, I do think Justin Fields is a better player than Andy Dalton. Obviously, I haven't seen him take a single NFL snap yet. No one has, but just Andy Dalton's history. I don't know many guys that go from starter to backup to starter and is all of a sudden turning their career around. I guess you could give Ryan Tannehill as an example, but Andy Dalton, I feel like we've seen the best from him. He's had a shot with the Cowboys and he didn't do anything there. I don't know how this is going to work out for them. I like Justin Fields, but if they want to go a similar route that Patrick Mahomes did with Alex Smith, or Alex Smith took the year over and Patrick Mahomes learned a lot from him. And the next year when he started, he completely broke the NFL, throwing 50 touchdowns, throwing 5,000 yards, winning MVP. And they want to do the same route with Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. Andy Dalton starts. Justin Fields gets to learn some reps, learn some plays, learn the system. And then in the second year and a sophomore year, he's going to take over the NFL. That is fine. But it could hold you back in 2021 from making a playoff run. Long-term and future-wise, I like this Bears team with Justin Fields being under center. But this very year, I'm not sure what the better case is. Is it Andy Dalton? Is it rookie Justin Fields? Or, you still got Nick Foles on that depth chart as well. That's a pretty good quarterback room to learn from. So that is good to help out Justin Fields. I'm a pretty big fan of Andy Dalton and Nick Foles when it comes to the knowledge and mentorship they can provide from Justin Fields. But on-field production, it's not going to be the best by any means, or else obviously Justin Fields wouldn't be here. If they believed in Andy Dalton and Nick Foles 100%, Justin Fields wouldn't have been drafted. Therefore, that is definitely a necessity. But I do think we could possibly see something in the middle where, just like Tua did last year with the Dolphins, he comes about midway into the season. We could see Justin Fields come midway into the season in the Chicago Bears team and try and fight for a playoff spot. Like I said, it won't be easy, especially with an Aaron Rodgers Packers division and a Minnesota Vikings that is going to get their defense back. And Detroit Lions, I don't have faith in Jared Goff, but they had an extremely good draft class. Going to be tough, especially playing the AFC North as well with the Bengals and the Browns and Ravens and Steelers, but it's not impossible. I like this Bears team. Their defense is on par with any other defense in the NFL. Their number one receiver, I think, is just as good as most receivers in the NFL. Backfield, underrated, not great, but it's still got talent. Quarterback is going to determine everything, but then again, revolving back to the coaching staff, I truly believe in Matt Nagy, and I do think he could possibly lead this team to the playoffs. It's going to be tough. The NFC is tight with the Bucs, with the Packers, with the Rams, with someone out of the NFC East, whoever it may be, the Seahawks, the Niners, the Cardinals, the Vikings, the Panthers, with Sam Darnold. It's going to be tough, but like I said, his defense could possibly carry him there, and Justin Fields, if he's got the big arm that the Bears expect him to have, I could see this team fight for the playoffs. If I had to bet, I'm going to say they don't make it year one with rookie Justin Fields, just because I do think they're going to stick with Andy Dalton and we might not see a lot of Justin Fields. But if week one we see Justin Fields roll in and earn the starting job, that could change my opinion because it shows he is the best quarterback in that room already. While it's not the biggest acknowledgement to take a jump and be the starter over Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, but it's not the biggest jump, like I said, but it does say something, especially only being a rookie. It shows he has raw skill and talent and is ready to perform now. So if he started week one, it could change my mind. But if they're rolling with Andy Dalton for the starter to be the season, or to start for the season, I'm not going to have them make the playoffs. But like I said, this defense can make a lot of games close and can make a playoff push really close as well. As always, guys, comment down below your thoughts. Do you think this Bears team will make the playoffs? And do you think Justin Fields will start week one, or they're going to roll with Andy Dalton or Nick Foles, whoever it may be, who's starting week one at the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears? Comment down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. 2-in-the morning.